Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for helping in. It's another day. My name is Ryan Sumanyima. I'm a medical student studying radiography in my third year. Apart from my medical studies, I'm also a proficient medical content writer. And today, All Med Talks with Destiny. Hey, Destiny, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, my name is Destiny Dennis. I'm a first year medical student and I go to Oklahoma State University College of Osteopathic Medicine in Tahlequah. So we're affiliated with the Cherokee Nation here. We're the only tribally affiliated medical school in the U.S.
Mm, mm, mm. Tell us more about your school.
Um, Well, OSU had a parent campus for a long time in a bigger city, Tahlequah, and they wanted to collaborate with a more rural area. And the Cherokee Nation is an indigenous tribe to Oklahoma, and they decided to partner with OSU to build the medical school here. And that way, it exposes the medical students to tribal culture as well as a rural setting. And we don't necessarily have to work for the tribe whenever we're finished. They just want more physicians to be comfortable with the Cherokee tribe and understand their culture and maybe their traditional practices in medicine and stuff like that, just to bridge that gap. So they started, they broke ground on the school, I think, in 2019. And so this year they're having the first graduating class from
Hmm.
from. So it's
Thank you
exciting.
so much for sharing your school, talking about your school for us. That's amazing. So, are you ready for this questions I have for you? Destiny,
Yes,
are you ready? Are you sure?
I think so.
Why did you say that? Why did you say that?
I don't know. The way you're saying it makes me nervous.
You shouldn't be nervous at all. You
Okay.
shouldn't. All right. So the first, okay, I want to put a disclaimer out there. If I'm looking downwards, right, I'm reading the questions to her. All right. So the first question goes this way: what was your journey like as a first year non-traditional medical student? So tell us what are your thoughts on that?
Um, it's been an interesting adjustment because I'm 32 and I worked a few jobs before. I had a business degree. And then after COVID is whenever I decided I wanted to go back to school and go to medical school. I have a 4-year-old. So we started in August, and no one else in my family has been involved in medicine, and so I don't have people like telling me in my family like this is what to expect or anything like that. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. So I feel like the hardest part has been learning to manage. Balance being a mom and manage my time, and the scheduling is all crazy. I don't think that there's anything in medical school that's just impossible for people to do or like impossibly difficult. It's just the volume and the schedule is a lot to handle. So getting into a routine with that has been difficult, but I feel like we're halfway through and I'm kind of getting to where I've got it down and my son is getting used to it too. So it's definitely been difficult, but I think I'm starting to figure it out.
That's amazing, amazing, amazing answer. Was it your passion to study to move into medicine initially?
So during the pandemic, I was covering postpartum and I was like researching nutrition and researching exercises and things that I could do to get myself back after having a baby. And then I got sent home to work from home during COVID and all of that. And people were getting sick left and right. And I was learning more about health and nutrition. And I was trying to teach my family, like, you guys need to take care of yourselves and be healthy to, keep from getting COVID or getting down when you get COVID. And The more I looked into that and learned for myself, the more I wanted to share it with other people. And I noticed all of the short staffings in the hospitals and how they were struggling to take care of all of these people who were getting sick. And I just had this desire to want to step in and do something and like be involved and actually like not just care for my family, but like do more for my community. And like I kind of felt helpless because I was like, there's not really anything I could do. So then that's when I was like, I'm going to go back to school and go for it. So
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, as a first year non-traditional medical student to the audience and your passion for medicine. And I believe that the audience really grabbed something off it.
thank you.
So the second question goes this way. Hey, this second question is kind of like very, very. Hmm. Are you sure you're ready for this question?
I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay, so what happened, to seeking medicine later in life, right? It is very difficult, to balance medical education and being a mother, like you said before. So can you share some ideas, or tips to help you manage these or those two roles of being a medical student and also being a mother? So tell us.
I would say that if you're going to go into medicine and you're already a parent, you have to give yourself a lot of grace and you have to be patient with yourself. Don't be stuck on perfectionism or like doing everything perfectly because even if you don't have a kid, you're going to fail and you're going to struggle with things. And so I think just accepting that you're going to do your best and it's going to have to be good enough. You're not always going to have things go the way that you planned. Just accepting that off the bat and not expecting yourself to be perfect, I think takes a lot of stress off of it. Um, and I don't know. I feel like in school, you don't want to be so stressed out that you mess up in school. And the same with being a parent. You don't want to be so stressed out and so uptight that you snap at your kid or you're being, more angry than you should when they misbehave. So it helps me to keep my attitude in check and just being like, okay, we're going to do the best we can today. If we don't make it all the way, that's fine. We have the next day. And then being very flexible. So I have a plan and I have an idea of how I plan every day and I try to plan every week. And then I'm like, I have a framework, but I'm also very flexible. So as soon as like my kid comes home sick from school or I have to pick him up early, I just have to be able to adjust really quickly and change the plan like at a moment's notice. So being very flexible is important, um, and trying to be present where you are. So like be where your feet are. So if you're at school or if you're doing school stuff, do that. And then if you're spending times with the kids, spend time with the kids. Don't try to do everything at once because it'll spread you too thin. So
Absolutely. I love the fact that you mentioned about giving priority at the time needed. If you want to focus on your studies in that moment, focus on your studies. If you want to focus on your kids, you also have to focus on there. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So the third question goes this way. As a non, before I proceed, what is a non-traditional medical student? What does that mean?
okay. So the traditional path to medicine would be to go to a 4-year university, at least in the US. I don't know how it is everywhere, but to go to a 4-year university and then apply to medical school. And then you get in. Most of my colleagues are 23, 24 years old. Um, and then, so a non traditional student would be somebody who has another career path before, or maybe starts a family and does something else than just going straight from high school to college to med school. So, That's
All right.
definitely me. So,
Wait, how do you cope in med school as a mature student?
um, I would say that I build as many relationships with the other students and try to relate to them as much as I can, but there is that age gap. So I just have to know that there's certain things about me that they're not going to understand, and that's okay. And I look at it like I can offer a different perspective. And they can help me to see things kind of fresh or like from their point of view. And it's interesting. I feel like we learn from each other. There's also one or two others that are a little bit older, and so that helps. But I have friends outside of school that I try to make sure I keep in touch with, and then family and stuff. So I try to kind of make sure that I'm still taking time to be social with my other relationships and keep those other friendships intact, just so that way I'm not on an island just here by myself.
I totally understand. It's not easy, but you just have to find a pace where you can just relate with other students as well.
Mhm.
So the third question, thank you so much for also sharing what that non-traditional, being a non-traditional medical students are, and I believe that the audience now know the reason and the meaning of that. Now, as a non-traditional medical student, what specifically would you like to share based on your journey thus far, and how do you think this support your overall learning as a medical student? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Can you clarify the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
How do you think that this would support your overall thinking or your overall learning as a medical student?
Okay. Being a non-traditional?
Yeah, as a non-traditional medical student, what specifically would you like to share based on your journey thus
Mhm.
far, and how do you think that this supports your overall thinking as a medical student?
Okay. Um, I would like to share that if you're thinking about getting into medicine and you are a non-traditional student, to go for it and to start before you're ready. So, whenever I started this journey, I had a little baby, very young. He was like not even a year old. And I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but when I looked at all the requirements, it just seemed like this big, massive thing. And I was like, how am I going to get from here to there? And I didn't feel ready. And I just started anyway. And you just enroll, even if it's just one class, just enroll in one class. So I just started right where I was. I enrolled in like a basic science course, and I just chugged away at it a little at a time. So I would say, like, if you're thinking about it and you don't feel ready, just pick one small thing that you can do to get the ball rolling and go for it. And I did that even when I applied to med school. Like, I had my application and I was really like, is this good enough? I don't feel like it's good enough. I didn't feel prepared. I didn't feel ready. And I just submitted it anyway. And it was the surprise of my life that I actually got accepted. Um, just going for it. And when they called me and told me that I was getting interviewed and that I'd been accepted, I was just in shock because I really didn't feel like I was ready. So I would say to start things, even if you don't feel like you're all the way like to that place or you're really prepared for it, just go for it. And I think that it's carried over for me as a medical student a lot, because there's times in class that I'll think, is this the solution to, if we are doing a case or if we're in the middle of a session, I'll think, is this the answer? I'm like, no, and I doubt myself and I just go for it. So like just putting yourself out there and being willing to fail. I think that's helped me as a student as well. So,
Wow. One thing I learned from what you just said is taking a step. Nobody's going to do that for you, right? If you want to move into medicine, go for it. Nevertheless, if you don't have the necessary resources, just take that step,
mhm.
right? And Destiny is a testament for that. She wasn't really ready for medicine, like she said, but she took that vigorous step, and here she is now in med school. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, so the fourth question goes this way. Wait, hold on. How about your partner? before I move this question?
Um, my like my spouse.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a single mom. We got divorced, so we were together when I started, and then throughout that time, we decided to go separate ways. So we are currently divorced, but he is very supportive of what I'm doing. And I think that helps because even though we're not together, we still share a son. So we work together really well, co parenting, and he fully supports what I'm doing. And if there's a time where I'm like, I really need you to take him so that way I can study or anything like that, he's more than willing to do that. And I think that helps a lot. And then I also have grandparents and my mom and dad, and they help a lot as well. So having that support system and having the help from him, it is very important. I couldn't be here doing this if I didn't have my support system. So
That's what I tell people out there. You should have a support system. It could be your husband, it could be your family members, it could be your friend, it could be anybody. Just have a supporting system that can always encourage you in everything you do.
yes, it would be very hard to
Yeah,
do without it.
absolutely, absolutely. You need a supporting system because if you don't have, you might get burned out immediately,
Hmm.
get really stressed out.
Yeah.
So the fourth question is being a parent, right? Requires a lot of time investment, right? So how do you prioritize your time, to succeed in your medical study and while making sure you spend quality time with your son? So tell us how you do that.
I just try to plan at least 2 days a week where all I'm going to do is study the whole like morning to night, and I'll make arrangements with a babysitter or my mom and dad or his dad, somebody to help me with my son. And then from morning to night, those 2 days, I just do nothing but focus on school. And so during the week while he's in school, I try to study and do school activities while he's at school. Um, and the nights, I just know that if I'm lucky, I get time to study at night, but most likely I'm going to be cooking dinner, putting him to bed, playing with him. And so I don't stress out if it doesn't happen on in the night during the week. And in the back of my mind, I just know I have those 2 days to look forward to that I've planned. Like those are all school days. And so that helps a lot. And it helps cut down on my stress to know that like if I don't get as much time during the week, I'm going to have those 2 days on the weekend or something where I can just lock in. So
That's a lot you're doing, honestly.
it
Hmm.
is.
Medical students itself, being a medical student itself is a full-time job, and also putting third parties like your son, taking care of your son is a whole lot of things you do.
Mm.
I'm
It's a lot.
great you have I'm great that you have something to figure out, based on that.
Yeah. I would say taking care of yourself is important too because I make time to like exercise every day, try to eat healthy, get enough sleep, all of those things because I can't be a good mom unless I've taken care of myself in a way so that way I can show up strong for him. So I think prioritizing self care is really good too.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So the fifth question goes this way. You ready?
Yes.
What advice would you give to those considering working in the medical field, you know, in the future, especially those who are impatient due to family responsibilities? So what do you have to say about that?
I would say don't give up on it. Don't ever feel like, it's impossible for you or you're not going to get there. Um, Take that first step, make a plan. Whenever I first started, I just wrote out like start to finish all the steps I would need to accomplish to get there. And I would just look at it every day or once a week, and I would just try to stay focused on it and not let yourself give up on it. It's hard, especially whenever you feel like you've got all these other things you've got going on and stuff. But also, I would say to do things that remind yourself why you want to do it. So when I was an undergrad and taking care of a baby, I knew that I needed to do something that like kept me, I don't know, focused on my reason for being there and doing what I was doing. So I went and worked at a hospital and was around patients and like helped take care of them and talked to doctors that were there and stuff. And like being in that environment reminded me like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm struggling through all of this that I'm dealing with. And so I would say just look for those things that inspire you to keep going and make sure that you're still staying focused.
That was an amazing nugget, Destiny. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Of course.
So this is the last question. How do you feel about
I'm ready.
it? You always ready. That's amazing. Can you tell us about your how you remember your role as a mother, you know, in relation to your medical education, and how did you deal with this situation? Tell us.
I just, he's part of my reason for doing it. A big part of my reason for better myself and pursue this education is to provide a better life for my son and to kind of show him what it looks like to go after your dreams and to go after something that you really want. So I just, he's at the forefront of like everything that I do. Like whenever I go to school, it's for him. And so whenever I catch myself being frustrated with, oh, I've got to take care of my son and I've got to take him to school and all of the mom things can get frustrating because there's so much. I try to think like, no, this is the reason that you're doing what you're doing is to give him a better life. And um, like be grateful that he's here, because if he wasn't here, I don't know if I would be pushing myself to do what I'm doing. So I just try to always keep that in perspective.
Wow. Thank you so much, Destiny. You've been an amazing great speaker, and thank you so much for share your own perspective on these questions for the audience to get more clarity on that.
Of course. Thank you. It's been
Before we
fun.
end, yeah, before we end this session, what are your last words for the audience?
I would say that no matter what you want to do with your life, um, even if it seems impossible, even if it seems like, oh, I'm not good enough or I'll never get there, just go for it. Because the biggest thing that people look back on and regret are the things that they didn't do, not the things that they did. So you don't want to get to the end of your life and just think, what if I would have tried, or like maybe I could have done that. So I would say don't leave a bunch of what ifs for the end of your life. Just try. I mean, you never know. I never thought in a million years that I would be here. So
Thank you so much, Destiny, for being an amazing guest speaker, and thank you everybody for listening. If you love this content, do well to subscribe, like, and share to your network as well. And I'm waiting for my next content.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.